We welcome Carl Edwards, driver of the number 99 Fastenal Ford, currently 12th in points. Carl, talk a little bit about where we are thus far this season and as we loom closer to the chase coming into Watkins Glen.
Well, we're not where we'd like to be this season, but we're working hard to rectify that. We had a fast race car last weekend, and we couldn't come to a better racetrack. I love racing here at Watkins Glen. We've had some really fast runs in the Cup car. We've had a lot of help from Marcus Ambrose and other guys that I think have really sped us up. So I'm excited to get racing here. It looks like the weather's going to possibly be good for practice this afternoon, and hopefully we can go out and make a good qualifying effort to have a good qualifying effort tomorrow. I'm running the Nationwide car for the first time this season, which will be pretty neat. We've got Scott Graves as crew chief. He was the engineer last season for all of our success that we had in the Nationwide Series. He's really excited. We've got Subway on board, and it should be an opportunity to get some experience and get some time out on the racetrack before the Cup race on Sunday. So looks like a fun weekend for us.
Okay, we'll open up for questions for Carl. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start up front with Lee, then come over to Joe.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. You have a remarkable record here, and you've completed all 100% of the laps. What do you have to do to break through and get that win on Sunday?
I think I just have to keep building on the experience that I've had here. This has been my first lap ever on this racetrack. I backed into the tire barrier in the last corner, and from there it's been all upward. You know, we've done better and better almost every time we've come here. We got the pole. I think it was last year or the year before, which was a huge moment for me to be able to qualify on the pole at a road course in the Cup Series. And I think that it takes a couple of things. I think I have to make sure that I communicate with Chad and we have the right strategy. I have to be aggressive on these restarts. I have to remember this whole race that we've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I think that I can try things that maybe I wouldn't have tried at least the last couple of years racing more for the point lead. So I think that all of that, plus the recent things that things that I can do right now, practicing that Nationwide car, we've tried to make the cars as similar as we can so that I can carry over anything we learn, and maybe tomorrow's race Saturday would be a good time to try any race line type of things that I could use for Sunday. So I've got kind of an idea of what I want to do to be the best I can be there on Sunday, and hopefully it all comes together.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Joe.
Joe Mettenzer, NASCAR.com, excuse me. How much are you looking forward to actually being in a nationwide race again, and how much have you missed it?
I've missed it a little more than I thought I would. It was nice to go over to the garage today, and I got to see a lot of guys that I haven't seen for a while. And as of right now, we haven't been on the track yet. They're all pretty happy to see me, so that's good. And it should be a lot of fun, though. I think. I just talked to Dale Jarrett a little bit. I get to be the in-race reporter, I guess, so that'll be neat to be a part of the broadcast. But overall, I miss racing with those guys on Saturdays. I miss the group of people that are over there in that garage. And one thing I'm really excited about is getting to race with some of these guys that I haven't really raced with much. I've been watching a lot this year and watching guys that are really doing well. I'm excited to see how I stack up against them, and so there's a little bit of nostalgia and there's a little bit of excitement for racing with new folks. We'll see how this goes, and we'll see what Ford and Jack and everyone is up for. But if this goes well, if it's fun and which I think it will be, I think there might be more in the future. We might try to work a few nationwide races in when we feel that they'll be really beneficial and when it'll work. I mean, you have to remember that the economics of it determine a lot of it as well. And Subway was nice enough to come on board, but we'd have to have a partner that wanted to do it also, because I don't think that there's a definite gain to doing it, to spending the money to go do it, unless we had a partner that was excited to be on the car.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, then go over to Chuck.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. What do you think after you took weight out of the car at the test at Martinsville? Did you notice any difference in the car after you made it a little bit lighter?
I didn't. So I don't even know exactly when we did that. Thinking back through the day, that wasn't the biggest change that we made. So I don't think it was that big of a factor.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Chuck.
Carl, Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. I've got to think that your mindset and confidence has to be pretty good heading, not just this weekend, a racetrack that you're good at, but Michigan, where you had a solid run last time there, coming in 11th. Talk about Michigan and returning there, and also, are you at all concerned about Bristol? I don't know if concern is the right thing. Just your thoughts about Bristol as well with what they've done there with the upper groove.
No, I'm not concerned about Bristol, but you are right. We do have. I don't know. We have confidence going forward because we've been running well right now. There are no real concerns for us about any of these tracks because truly we don't really have much to lose. It's basically go to the racetrack, do everything we can to try to win the race, and hopefully we can pull off what Jeff Gordon was able to do last week. That was spectacular. I had a front row seat, and we need to go out and win one and maybe win two, and. If you look at our recent performances, just this year, you'd say, hey, that's really the chances that are slim. But at the last few weeks and the way that the Fords have been running, the way that the tracks that we have coming up, I think it's a real possibility that we can go out and get a win or two, and fight our way into this chase and be good. But I think the changes at Bristol could only be good for us. Anything that's different, any changes, any chance to get ahead on strategy or a new racetrack or new style setups, any of that stuff helps us right now. We need things to be shaken up, and I think that'll give us more opportunities.
Okay, we got a question in the back. Go ahead.
Carl, back here. Do you have any thoughts on how Danica can run on this track, given her IndyCar background and the fact that they kind of run road courses?
Not really. I don't know. Is she? I don't know. Is she racing? Is she racing this weekend? She's running the Nationwide Series. No, I'll tell you one thing. I raced against her at Montreal last year. We raced pretty hard, and I thought she did a heck of a job. She surprised me. I thought that what I'd seen on the ovals versus what I saw on the road courses, it was different. She seemed a lot more comfortable. I kind of bumped her out of the way, and then next corner she bumped me back out of the way. So she was on it.
Okay, questions for Carl? Okay, Steve.
Steve Richards with PRN. When you won at Michigan, obviously it was a big win for Ford. Was it a big win, or bigger win for the manufacturer than you thought it would be, after in the days and weeks after?
Was that how many? Do we have just one win there? Was it the? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Anytime you win, I'm not sure. I remember we ended a long losing streak at Michigan in, I think, 2007. I think it was 2007 or 2008. But anytime you win at Michigan, it's big, and it's big for especially the guys who race for Jack. Jack and his business is based in Michigan. Ford Motor Company, everything they've done for our sport and for Jack and everyone at Roush Fenway, myself included, we really appreciate everything they've done, and it's a very special place to win. Victory Lane takes a long time there because of all the photos, and it's neat to have guys like Edsel and Jack and his family and all the folks that support us, from technical standpoint and from a financial standpoint so much that it's a special place to win. I think everyone in the garage feels that way. It's a good place to win a race, and the fans there are great. I mean, it's my spotter Jason. He's from just nearby the racetrack. He's been going to the races there since he was a little kid. It feels like a home track for us for a number of reasons.
Final questions for Carl? Okay, we'll take one here from Mike, then go back over to Lee.
Mike Muller, Mulhern.net. I guess you've raced in the rain, and we're at Watkins Glen, and it's sort of wet. And now racing in the rain and racing in the wet are two different things, obviously. And I still remember Montreal a couple of years ago, which you probably remember too. Racing in the wet here, when it's not raining and it's dry, but the track is wet, in a nationwide car versus something in a Cup car. Why can't we do it in Cup cars if we can do it in nationwide cars? And what's it feel like out on a track like this?
I don't know why exactly they don't do it in the Cup Series. It's a good question. We talked about that a little bit this week in preparation for this race. I don't know if they – I just don't know why. I'm sure they have a really good reason. I've enjoyed racing in the rain in the Nationwide Series. When there's – at Montreal, there's been times where there's standing water, and that's a whole different animal. But that race with Marcus, when it was drying, that was one of the most the win aside, it was the race for that win was one of the most exciting races I've ever been a part of. And that's because when the track is dry and you have so much there's so much difference in grip between the wet spots and the dry spots, and then managing the use of the tires, because the rain tires don't hold up as well on the dry as you'd like, so you can hurt the tires. There are a whole number of factors that play into driving fast on a wet or drying racetrack. I really enjoy it. So I would say that if it were a little rain shower tomorrow in the middle of the race would be just fine. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I think it would test all of us a lot, and it'd be really exciting.
Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you just talk about Hendrick Motorsports? I mean, Roush really seemed to come out of the box extremely stout at the start of the season, and now it seems like y'all's arch nemesis are just kind of really coming together, right at the right time. I mean, what do you guys have to keep up with them?
That's a question we ask ourselves a lot. They do a really good job, and they're able to always. It seems like the anomaly for them is to be a little bit behind, and then the standard for them, the norm for them is to be just a little bit ahead, and they just do a really good job of that. We've been working very hard at Roush Fenway to try to be as proactive as we can, to look into the future, to try to be in the position that they're in, and we've shown, I think, over the last couple of years that we're able to stay out front more often than we historically have. And if you look at our performance just of late, we've been able to we've been as close to those when they're dominant like they are right now. We've been closer to them, and we are closer to them than we have been in the past. So I think the things we're working on, if the things we're working on and the goals we've set are met, I believe that we'll be pretty good for the chase. Specifically for my team, the mission is to make the chase. But I think for Matt and Greg, if it looks like they're going to be in it, and I would not bet against those guys in those final 10 races. I think they're going to be very good, and I think that the whole garage is kind of learning a little bit from watching those Hendrick guys, and we're all getting better.
All right. Carl, thank you very much for coming in to join us during this holding pattern for the Sprint Cup Series practice.
Does it look like it's going to rain again to anybody, or does it look like it's going to be clear the rest of the day? Okay. It's going to rain later, but just don't know how much. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for your time. Good luck this weekend.